Every yes carries weight. Some are light, almost effortless. Others are heavy, dragging behind you like chains you didn't choose. When you say yes out of fear, out of guilt, or out of the simple terror of disappointing someone, you are not just agreeing to a task. You are surrendering a piece of yourself. And at first, it feels small. One favor here, one compromise there. But like drops of water against stone, it erodes you slowly, until you wake up one day, realizing that your life no longer belongs to you. It has been scattered into countless obligations, expectations, and demands. The tragedy is that most of these yeses are invisible. No one else sees the cost you've paid. No one else notices the quiet exhaustion in your eyes. Only you carry the invisible burden, and only you know that each false yes is a silent betrayal of yourself. Why is no so difficult? Because we are wired to connect, to belong. And somewhere along the way, we learn that rejection threatens our survival. Children are taught, directly or silently, that love often comes at the price of obedience. That harmony is maintained by compliance. That saying no means being difficult, selfish, or unworthy of affection. So we grow into adults who smile while drowning. We nod while breaking. We agree while resenting. Because we confuse boundaries with cruelty and silence with kindness. But beneath this fear lies a truth we rarely admit. When you avoid saying no, you're not protecting the other person. You're protecting your own image. You're avoiding the discomfort of being misunderstood. You're choosing to be liked rather than to be authentic. There is a prison that doesn't look like one. Its walls are made not of stone, but of politeness. Its bars are not iron, but the word yes. And inside it, you sit quietly, applauded for your kindness, admired for your reliability, while secretly shrinking. The danger of always saying yes is not only burnout, it is self-erasure. Every time you abandon your truth to meet someone else's need, you're telling yourself, my voice matters less. My time matters less. I matter less. This is not generosity. This is surrender. And a surrender repeated enough times does not make you noble. It makes you invisible. When yes becomes your default, you lose the ability to distinguish between service and slavery, between helping others and abandoning yourself. To say no is an act of courage, but it is also an act of beauty, because no is not rejection, it is selection. It is not a wall, it is a gate. When you say no to what drains you, you say yes to what sustains you. When you refuse to scatter yourself into 1,000 obligations, you choose to pour yourself fully into what matters most. No is a declaration. I exist. I matter. I am not an endless resource, but a living being with limits and with worth. The world does not need more exhausted souls nodding in silent despair. It needs people who dare to speak with clarity, who love deeply because their love is not stretched thin by resentment. The beauty of refusal is this: every no makes room for a truer yes. Boundaries are often misunderstood. People imagine them as walls, harsh and impenetrable. But in truth, they are doors. A door can open, a door can close. And you, not others, hold the key. When you say no, you are not pushing someone away. You are guiding them into the correct distance from your soul. Too close, and you suffocate. Too far, and you wither. Boundaries create balance. A space where love can breathe instead of collapse under pressure. Still, people may resist your boundaries. They may accuse you of selfishness, of cruelty. But what they are really mourning is the loss of control over you. And that mourning is not yours to carry. Your boundaries are not an act of aggression. They are an act of love for yourself and for the relationships that can only thrive when you are whole. At first, guilt will cling to you like a shadow. The first time you say no to a friend, the first time you refuse a family member, the first time you protect your time, your energy, your truth. Guilt whispers, "You are cruel, you are ungrateful, you are unkind." But guilt is not proof of wrongdoing. It is simply the echo of an old habit, a ghost of obedience still haunting you. We confuse guilt with morality, but they are not the same. Guilt often rises not when you've harmed someone, but when you've dared to honor yourself. And with practice, guilt quiets down. Each no becomes easier, until one day you realize the shame you felt was never your own. It was a story you inherited, and stories can be rewritten. Something magical happens when you learn to say no. Every yes becomes sacred, because it is no longer forced, no longer manipulated, no longer stolen from you. It is chosen, and what is chosen carries weight. When you say yes after learning to say no, that yes is luminous. It is full. It is real. It comes not from fear, but from freedom. Not from guilt, but from love. This is the paradox. Only those who can say no can ever truly say yes. Everyone else is simply agreeing. But you are choosing. And in that choice lies dignity, authenticity, and the deep power of living a life that belongs to you. From a psychological perspective, the struggle with saying no is often rooted in early experiences of attachment. Children who grow up in environments where love feels conditional, where affection must be earned by obedience, learn to sacrifice their own needs to maintain connection. As adults, this habit persists. They feel safer abandoning themselves than risking abandonment by others. But healing is possible. Learning to say no is not an act of rebellion. It is an act of repair. It rewrites the old script that says, "If I disappoint, I will not be loved," and replaces it with a truer one. "If I abandon myself, I will never truly be loved." Therapists often encourage small, safe acts of refusal, building tolerance to the discomfort of guilt. With practice, individuals discover that healthy relationships do not collapse under the weight of a no. They deepen, because honesty creates intimacy, and boundaries create trust. The art of saying no, then, is not about rejection. It is about authenticity. It is the art of choosing yourself without apology, and in doing so, choosing a life where your yes carries the brilliance of truth.